I am Mrs. Ramlal. Thank you for watching the videos on natural selection. There are 5 videos in this section. There are 4 theory videos and 1 exam video. This is an exam video of question 3 on natural selection. Right. Question 3. If you look at question 3, it's a 15-mark question, which in the past in CAPS, this used to be our essay question. And this question deals with Lamarck and Darwin. Now, let's read the question. An ancestor of the elephant, Paeomia, had a long-nosed structure called a proboscis, which evolved into the trunk of the elephant. The proboscis was used to gather leaves as food. The proboscis of the Paeomia and the trunk of the elephant are shown below, as you can see in the diagram. The diagrams have not been drawn to scale. Your question is to explain the evolution of the elephant's trunk in terms of Lamarck, Lamarckism, and Darwinism. Now, with the Lamarck had 2 rules and 2 laws, and his law was the law of use and disuse. So, obviously, this elephant, if the environment changed from grass to high trees or tall trees, this proboscis of this elephant would have been stretched more to be able to reach the high leaves. And the more the proboscis was used and stretched by the elephant, the more and more it used, the more developed it became, and the longer and longer the proboscis became, until all elephants had the long proboscis. And now this was the acquired characteristic. Then this acquired characteristic, by stretching and getting a long proboscis, then was passed on to the offspring. So, if we look at our memo, that's what you would have had. Stretch the proboscis to say why, to reach the leaves higher up. The longer it became, you talk about acquired, and then over generations, the offsprings of all the other generations would have had a long proboscis, which then would have changed into a trunk. Right, now let's go to Darwinism. Darwin talks about variation. So there would have been those with a long proboscis and a short proboscis. The ones with the short proboscis could not get the food, and the ones with the long proboscis could get the food. So the ones with the long proboscis had the favorable characteristic and could reach the food, survive, and reproduce. And the ones with the short proboscis could not get the leaves, and as a result died out, and that was the unfavorable characteristic. And then this long proboscis was passed on to generations, and eventually all the generations of the elephant then had a long trunk. So you talk about variation. Some had long proboscis, short proboscis. Then there was competition for food, and the ones with the short proboscis could not get the food, they died out. Long proboscis elephant survived, reproduced, passed on the allele to their offspring, and then the next generation or future generations had a higher number of proboscis, which then obviously turned into the trunk in present days. So this is how you would answer the question. I hope that helped you. Thank you for joining me with my exam question on natural selection. Join me in watching all my other videos as well.